Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be sharing some polishes within my collection inspired by Wicked in honor of Wicked for Good that recently came out. I am so excited, you don't even know. And stay tuned until the very end of the video to see how I did this very gorgeous, very elegant mani inspired by Glinda's wedding dress. And I can't lie, also kinda inspired by Ariana Grande's 2024 Met Gala look because it was just so beautiful. But let's go ahead and get started. The first polish that is up is Holo Taco Emerald City. This is a cool emerald green iridescent flake formula with a deep green jelly base and scattered holo. And I chose this beautiful shade of green to represent Miss Elphaba, of course. I don't have many greens to choose from within my collection, but I think this one works well. And the name is fitting with the whole Wicked theme. I know it looks like I got full coverage at 2 coats, but in real life, at certain angles, I could see some nail line at 2 coats, so I went ahead and added a third. This could probably be resolved with a blurring base coat though. If you're wondering, I use Holo Taco Peely Base for the purpose of swatching. And you can see just how beautiful this polish is. I especially love the addition of the scattered holo, giving it that subtle twinkle. The next polish that is up is Holo Taco Deeply Superficial. This is a thermal polish that is a pale semi-translucent pink in the warm state and a bright magenta pink in the cool state. It also has multicolored iridescent flakes and a hint of scattered holo. I chose this polish to represent Glinda. I think this polish would pair really nicely with Emerald City if you want to do a pink and green mani because they both have iridescent flakes and scattered holo, so they complement each other nicely. I also thought the name Deeply Superficial was very fitting for her personality because although she may seem very shallow and superficial at first, and on the surface, she actually carries very deep emotions and has a lot of depth to her. I did 3 coats for this polish because although I achieve opacity in 2 coats for the cool state, arguably even in 1, the warm state is very pale and sheer. This was a limited edition polish from Holo Taco's 5th anniversary collection, so I've had this for over a year now, but it still transitions, which is great news. I'm so curious on when it will die, but what's also interesting is that the release of this collection coincided with the Barbie movie, if I remember correctly, and everyone was saying how fitting this polish shade and name was for Barbie, but now it's super fitting for Wicked as well. Next up is Holo Taco Vitamin Glow. This is a light cornflower blue jelly polish with iridescent pink micro shimmer and a dash of scattered holo. I chose this polish to represent Glinda's blue dress, or I thought it was blue, but then I heard Ariana call it lavender in an interview, so I guess it's technically lavender. But that gown has an iridescent quality to it, so it looks bluish, lavenderish to me, so I think this still works. I also love that this has the pink shimmer because it feels like that iconic pink Glinda is most known for is still peeking through from within. And what do you get when you mix blue and pink? Purple, so there you go. I decided to top this with Holo Taco Magnetic Taco, which is just a silver magnetic topper. This was limited edition from Holo Taco's 6th anniversary collection, but I am hopeful it will come back and be permanent because I feel like this deserves a spot in Holo Taco's catalog. If not, other brands do have magnetic toppers, like I know Cirque has a silver hollow one. But yeah, I decided to go with the velvet style for this look. You can use a 30-pound horseshoe magnet or any U-shaped magnet to easily achieve this look. A lot of indie brands sell U-shaped magnets. I'm pretty sure they're just 3D printed with neodymium magnets on either side. And that's pretty much what I'm using, except mine happens to be butterfly shaped. You're going to want to keep your nail in there for 30 to 60 seconds and magnetize your top coat as well. Ariana has said that she felt the most like Glinda in the lavender gown, which I think is really sweet. And this is such a stunning combo. The velvet magnetic topper really elevated Vitamin Glow, and I think it helped it look more like the dress because again, that dress did have like an iridescent, shimmery, color shifty vibe going on. I especially love the way velvetized manis look when moving your finger from side to side. It just looks so cool and magical. The next polish that is up is by Danny Viana, I'm Not That Girl. This is a magnetic polish in a light taupe beige base with pink reflective glitters and a green glow-in-the-dark effect. This is from a Wicked themed collection by Danny Viana, and the maker says this polish is inspired by the love triangle between Elphaba, Fiyero, and Glinda, and who he chooses in the end. I have several polishes from this collection and they're all very unique and beautiful, but I didn't want to just show all polishes from an already Wicked themed collection, so I just picked 2, the other one will be shown later on. The maker also released another Wicked for Good collection recently, which I don't own any right now, but in case anyone is interested. On my swatch finger, I'm showing this in the cat eye effect, just holding the bar magnet over my nail for 30 to 60 seconds. I did 3 coats of this polish, and in the cat eye style, you can still see some nail line in 3 coats. I think this could be resolved with the blurring base, but in my full hand swatches, I also showed this polish unmagnetized, velvetized, and with a circle magnet, and in those styles, the opacity is not an issue. I think because in the cat eye style, the magnetic pigment is all pulled to the center, therefore taking away some coverage it could have provided to the tips. Here's the full hand swatch for this polish. My index finger is in the velvet style, my middle finger is in the cat eye style, my thumb and pinky are unmagnetized, and I used a circle magnet on my ring finger to push the magnetic pigment up to the tips, creating a gradient effect. I'll show how I did that in just a minute, but for now let's take in how gorgeous this polish is. This base color is arguably a prugly shade, but I surprisingly really like it, especially under flash when you can see the pink reflective glitters and the green glow element. Maybe you don't want to wear a glow-in-the-dark polish to the theater, but I love the theming on this polish. Here's a closer look at my thumb to see how this looks unmagnetized. I think it looks great unmagnetized, but personally, if I have a magnetic polish, I feel like I can't leave it unmagnetized no matter how good it looks. I just can't. And to get the gradient effect on my ring finger earlier, it's super easy. Just hold a circular magnet at the base of your nail and it will push the magnetic pigment up. I'm using the circular end of my Holo Taco magnetic wand, and it's kind of hard to see the effect on this polish because the magnetic pigment doesn't contrast too much with the base color, but hopefully you can tell. Here's some bonus footage. Let me know what your favorite effect is. The next polish that is up is Holo Taco's Deep Dreams. This polish is a deep navy blue crushed holo with blue iridescent microflakes. I chose this polish to represent Fiyero. A lot of blues could work for this. Sorry that I chose a limited edition polish, but apparently I don't own many navy blue polishes. I think Holo Taco Blue Freezy or Twice in a Blue Moon both also work well. And a lot of brands have gorgeous deep navy polishes. You probably have one in your collection. And just a warning, this polish is very much a stainer, so just warning you. I had this on for like 30 minutes max to swatch, and granted, I was only wearing Peely Base, which isn't protective at all, but even for that short period of time, my nails were a bit blue when I took this off. At first, I was low-key excited because I thought, does having a slight blue stain cancel out the yellowy orange stain I have? But not really, it just looked like a slightly bluish-green tinge. It was minimal enough that the stain disappeared after a couple rounds of acetone from all the polishes I swatched after this one. Maybe if I have a purple stainer that might work, but I don't know if it really works like that. Speaking of purple, next up is Holo Taco Inside Job. This is a purple holo glitter polish that also includes square-shaped glitters. I chose this polish to represent Madame Morrible. My apologies again for choosing a retired polish. Again, so many purple polishes could be fitting. You probably have one in your collection. I just had to pick this one because not only did I think the shade was spot on, but I really liked the name Inside Job because she was scheming.
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
The next polish that is up is by Danny Viana, Wonderful. This again is from that first Wicked collection from by Danny Viana. This polish has an emerald base with a green to teal aurora shimmer and a mix of silver and green reflective glitters. The maker says Wonderful is inspired not only by the song but by the moments the wizard shares with Elphie and her hopes to fit in and be accepted. This is such a beautiful shade of green, I just had to share it. It starts off pretty sheer but does build up in 3 coats for me. I especially think under flash, which you'll see in just a minute when you can see the reflective glitters come through, it just looks so special and magical. I don't know, reflective glitters just do that for me. The next polish that is up is Holo Taco Sunshine Crush, obviously to represent the yellow brick road. This is a warm golden yellow crushed holo polish with an orange-pink iridescent micro shimmer underglow. This formula is amazing, just like all of Holo Taco's crushed holo polishes. It applied beautifully and I got full coverage in just 2 coats, and this polish is so pretty. I feel like I don't hear enough people talk about it. I know yellow is kind of an underrated color, but this one is super wearable in my opinion. It does lean more marigold than a true primary yellow, but it's so beautiful. I really love it, especially for the summer. And finally, I will show the combo I used to get that stunning mani I teased in the beginning. I started off with 3 coats of cracked polish vanilla, which is just a soft white jelly on all my nails except my ring finger. This jelly is formulated so well, as you can see, it self-levels really nicely. I chose a jelly because seeing some Fiyero creates a very easy illusion of faux French tips. And although Glinda is often associated with pink, if you pay attention to her nails, she's pretty much always rocking a French tip mani. I guess she just wants something subdued to match all her outfits. I then topped it with Holo Taco Aqua Glow in the Dark Taco. This topper has a bit of a cloudy fogginess to it, so adding it over vanilla provided a tad more coverage, kind of like adding a 4th coat of vanilla would probably do. You could do the OG green Glow in the Dark Taco too, and it can be like that little piece of Elphie she carries within her, but I went with Aqua because 1, it's newer to my collection and I really want to use it. 2, this was inspired by her wedding and something blue is traditionally wedding coded. And 3, I did this when I was still under the impression that her lavender gown was actually blue. Again, this goes without saying, but you probably don't want to wear a glow in the dark to the theater. Especially this Holo Taco one, the glow is very strong and it holds its charge for a long time, but it's a fun Wicked inspired mani for any other time. Now for my accent nail, I started off with 3 coats of cracked polish refraction, which is a sheer white with green, silver, blue shimmer. It starts off pretty sheer, but it actually builds up so beautifully. I think it looks just like an iridescent pearl. This is a shade from Polish Pickup, but it's not the most unique polish in the world. I'm sure there's a lot of dupes out there, or even just a polish with a similar vibe. Like I believe even Mooncat Pearl Clutcher, although isn't a dupe, could work to give a similar look. And I think this is such a stunning wedding shade. I then topped this with Sally Hansen Cottontails from the Hershey's and Cream Eggs collection, but you can totally skip this step. It made like no difference. If I look really close and tried really hard, I could sort of see that additional purpley shimmer, but not really. And finally, I topped this nail with by Danny Fiona All the Stars in the Universe, which is a topper with a mix of micro and small silver holographic glitters and 4 pointed stars. I started off with a light layer of this and I tried to get a dip without any stars on the brush so I could place them later. This is a little tricky because there are so many stars in the bottle, so I had to try really hard to wiggle and wipe a few off, but I finally got a lucky dip without any stars on the front side of the brush. I love that the glitters are different sizes and are dispersed enough in this topper that it just adds a very light dusting of it. It makes me feel like I just lightly dusted some diamonds onto my nails, and it adds a very subtle twinkle that I love so much. Keeps the nail looking very elegant and not overwhelmed. I then dabbed a bit of the polish onto my mat to place the stars myself using a wooden cuticle stick or a toothpick. You don't have to do it like this, you can just swipe the topper on like normal, but personally, I just wanted to have a few stars in the corners. I also really love that these are 4-pointed stars because the typical 5-pointed stars reminds me of stars, but a 4-pointed stars makes me think of it more like just a sparkle. And I didn't know what to name this because listing all the polishes I used with the typical way I format the text on screen would be way too long, so I just called it Wedding Combo. I think it turned out so beautiful, and I definitely think this is something Glinda would wear on a special occasion. You may notice the 2 strategically placed stars on my index finger. That's because I noticed a small bubble that formed on that nail after my top coat. I was so annoyed, I even considered redoing that nail, but it was like 4 AM at this point, so I got the brilliant idea to cover it with more stars. And it ended up being a happy accident because I think it makes everything look more cohesive. And when it's glowing in the dark, you can still see those 2 stars peeking through, which I love. The glow on this is so strong, it was even wanting to glow slightly in my low light shots. That is all for my favorite Wicked inspired polishes in my collection. Let me know what your favorite was, whether it was one I showed or not, and what you're planning to wear to watch Wicked for good, or what mani you did if you already saw it. I actually won't be able to watch it until December because the person I want to see it with is traveling out of the country right now, so I must wait. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.